Hope you guys can hear me. BNQW. What's up? Can you guys hear me? And let me know if you guys can hear me. Hope you guys can hear me. Right. Says he starts his CDL class tomorrow. Perfect. Get out there and burn some fuel, brother. You're going to enjoy it, man. Make some good money. Sounding good. Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, Trucker Colorado. Loud and clear. Thank you. What's up, 50 King Cobra? What's going on, man? Everything's real good with me. And I got some ribs and some sausage on the pit, so some chicken too. I had to do a really light cook today because the temperature outside is getting cool and it's starting to drizzle out here in Houston, which means it cools the firebox down as the water hits it, and that just kind of sucks. But it's hard. Right now here in Houston, we have the barbecue cook-off for the rodeo, and I went to the barbecue cook-off yesterday. Well, no, I'm sorry, not yesterday, the day before. And I was under-impressed by some of the barbecue I tasted, so I had to make some good stuff. So making head now. Well, I can't say that it's bad, but it wasn't bad. It was good barbecue. But everybody, has their own flavor, and I'm kind of used to mine. So I like it. Right, says he just turned 21. Perfect. It's good to get started in this business. Get started early, man, because that really it can help you in the long run as you get your experience going. You starting young. Just keep an open mind and do everything you can to stay positive and stay away from the negativity. And if you do that, you're gonna do just fine. You do just fine, especially when you're young, man. You got a lot of time to learn this industry and make some good money and set some money to the side. That's key. Definitely set some money to the side, brother, so you can get ready. Dave Davenport, you making good money with Melton, and you said you had another business. What else do you do? Actually, I'm making pretty good money here at Melton. I'm doing really good, and I expect things to make more and do better as I get more experience in flatbed. My end game is not to stay with a company, but to help my son grow a business in heavy haul, and so that's what we're gonna do. That's the end game, and that's what's going to happen eventually. But for right now, as a company driver, man, it's great. I'm enjoying Melton, and I like it for the most part because I do a load. When I get done with the load, I send in my empty call, and they give me another one. I don't have to. It's no hand holding. There's no micromanaging. Just do your job, man, and you rarely gonna hear from anybody. They're just gonna keep sending you work, and on Friday or Thursday you're gonna keep getting paid. That's the way it is. I freaking love it, man. Their fuel card isn't like with Swift, but now we're talking to two different companies in actual structure and everything. But at Swift, we had if we wanted to fuel anywhere outside of the designated fuel spot, you had to call, and then they would have to turn it on for you. Then they would only turn on a many gallons. They would, man, with Melton, they give you a fuel card, bro, and as long as it's major, I haven't tried to fuel at a mom and pop type place, but I always be respectful to them in their vehicle and fuel at major places, but you fill a truck up every time, man. I couldn't understand why I could always get like 60 gallons or something like that when I was with the other folks. Sometimes they have to fill up, but there was times they want you to only get 60 gallons. I think they want to get you in a position where you can go get the cheapest fuel, and I get all of that. But with Melton, man, just fill the truck up and drive. I like that, man. And I like the fact that it's not micromanaged. So I'm doing really good over there, man. And I really like, excuse me, I really like it, man. And you would too if you decide to come on. What time is dinner? Probably we probably got about 3 more hours of smoking. So if you can make it over here, come on. You know, it's almost 50 degrees difference in the clear out. Yeah, Chucker, Colorado. Hey, brother. Glad you enjoy you're on here with me. You know, man, it is amazing how it is. You know, when we drive, you start your morning, and it might be you know, 10 and 12 degrees. By the time you park for the day, you might be in a state where it's, you know, 50. And when you are used to humidity and, you know, 90 to 100 and plus degrees, like Houston, it's a big swing, a big difference, man. And you know, like, you know, I used to drive every day between Salt Lake and Denver, Colorado, which is I-80, and through Wyoming. And, you know, you get season changes all day long over there, man. I mean, the temperature changes, the wind changes, the road closes, and it's a whole lot. I'm so glad I'm not dealing with that right now. So glad. And I left my laptop on the truck. The truck is still of course, at the yard in Oklahoma. And, but I left my laptop, so I'm actually reading y'all's comments on this little phone, so this smaller screen. So, you know, let these old eyes adjust, and you guys keep on commenting, and I'm going to keep on trying to keep up with you guys, okay? I'm thinking about going to Prime Inc. for school. Any advice? You are not going to go wrong. You're not going to go wrong going with Prime, okay? If you want to do refrigerated, they do some dry, but they use refrigerated trailers because most of the refrigerated stuff they do over there, and they do some tanker, and I think they do some flatbed. But Prime is a excellent place to go, man. And you know, you're gonna always, if you look for something negative, you're gonna be able to find it, okay? But they are successful. That's a successful company. And if they're successful, they're doing something right. So you focus on that right, and go out there and get yours. But Prime is a really, really good place to go. And from what I've gathered, they have good equipment. They keep it up and functional, and they keep it fresh. And you're gonna be just fine over there. So good luck, man. Go out there and make it happen with Prime, or whomever you choose. But you're not gonna go wrong with Prime. I have 1 year of forklift stand-up lift experience, but I always wanted to do trucking, so I quit my job, paid $18 an hour to pursue a dream. Man, listen, as long as your dream is obtainable, then I advise anybody to pursue it. That's the way. That's the reason America is what it is, and what makes America what it is. The pursuit of happiness, and you as long as your goal is realistic and achievable, let nothing get in your way. Go grab it. Let nothing get in your way. Okay? And there's going to be a lot of haters. There's going to be people telling you, no, don't do that. Hey, man, that's what you want to do. It's a free country. You go get it. Go grab it. And if there's any advice I can give you on the way, go grab it, brother. Do it. I don't think I can make it from Michigan in 3 hours. I miss out on some good Texas barbecue. Hopefully, King Cobra, one of these days, you'll be out here when I'm out here now, and I'll meet you somewhere and bring you some good barbecue. African Queen, she says, and African Queen, I've made a shopping list so I can make the lasagna. I haven't forgotten her. She wants me to make some lasagna on the truck, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to get all the ingredients, and then when I drive back to the truck, I'm going to prepare to make your lasagna on the truck for you. Okay, I won't make the fresh pasta. It does take I can make fresh pasta, but it takes a while and it's kind of messy, and can't make fresh pasta in the truck. So I want to buy pasta that we can boil and then do it. But I want to make you some really good lasagna on the truck. I'm going to use some Italian sausage, some ground turkey, and some ground buffalo meat with that. Okay, so get ready, it's coming. So anyway, your question today, or your statement today, do you discuss your other business? Davenport, I'm gonna put that in there too. I skipped him. That's the reason why I'm letting Dave know. I'm gonna get to you, okay, bro? Davenport, Craig, I'm sorry. I'm gonna talk to you about my other businesses. African Queen says, do you use a road atlas carrier? I do rarely, though. Okay, you need to learn how to use a road atlas, but I've found it has some use, but it's not going to be extremely useful to me. It does have some uses, okay? And I say that because in flatbed, I've probably 70% of the loads I've taken them to job sites that does not exist on any atlas, because the road, they just put it in a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So how could it be on an atlas? It's not there. And so I actually end up using a combination of Google Maps app and Trucker Path and Road Atlas to get to where I'm going, because I can use the sky view from the Google to see that empty lot where they're working, and then where I can get in to get where I'm going. But for the most part, the very, very, very vast majority of drivers that are living in this century use electronic devices to get to their finals, and you'll see a truck driving down the road that have two of them open at the same time, and that's because you want two open up at the same time, because they are subject to fail. They will lose satellite signal, they'll lose cell signal, they get lost, and then you have to wait for them to find themselves, and by that time you might have missed the exit. So you're not going to pull over on the side of the road and look at an atlas and read it, or do like some people do. I've seen them once or twice, write the instructions on the windshield, because they don't want to look down at a piece of paper they've written them on. It's just not as conducive as you may think. But to trip plan, you can use a road atlas to do it, but it's a lot easier to use trip plan with your Ram and Nally or something like that. Okay, so anyways, let's get back to Dave Davenport. Craig, I'm sorry, I don't know why I want to call you Dave, but it's Craig Davenport. He says, do you not discuss your other businesses? Okay, now I'll talk to you about them a little bit. One of them is real estate. I have some rental properties, and I started as a guy who flipped houses. Okay, and I bought one house, and I started because I had a house that I inherited, and that house was paid for, and then I went and got a second lien on that house, a mortgage on the house, so I could have cash to start flipping houses. That's how I got started, and I did really, really well flipping houses, and I would flip a few of them and then build a new construction, and then use the new construction as a rental, and then flip more houses, and then do a new construction as a rental, and then flip more houses, and then I kept doing it until I ended up with a nice amount of rental properties, and they're all new construction, and they're all paid for because I paid for them with the money that I was making while I was flipping houses. But then the government came into the banks and said, naughty, stop what you're doing. You can't do that anymore. You got bad business, and the mortgage industry crashed pretty bad, and it became tougher for me to get people financed because it wasn't a free for all anymore. So I just do new construction now, and I say that's why I had to come home a few months back. You guys saw me come home, and I had to come home because I needed to move some of that rent money to buy another new construction because it was going to be in trouble with the government because I was not realizing the rent money, which means I was collecting rent from all of those properties the money goes into an account, which I don't touch. And then it builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up, but it builds up to a point to where it reaches the cap of an investment account is allowed in a single year. So you have to do what's called a 1031 exchange. It's tax law, and then and move that money into a like-kind property, which means I have to buy another new construction for rent with that money, or I have to realize that money, which means all that rent money I've been collected all them years. I have to take that money and spend it, and I don't do that. It's not for spending; it's for investing and making money. So I move it to another like-kind property, do an exchange, and do a like-kind property. That's what I did. I came home, I bought a new house. The other business is a youth sports marketing business, and what I do is I run tournaments for youth baseball, fast pitch softball, basketball, and girls volleyball. And I have a patent right on a system that I use to market the players to colleges and help them get college scholarships and things like that of that nature. And then parents pay me to help them get their kids seen and on college squads, and it does very well. It's extremely lucrative, but I do have a chokehold on it because I have a patent right on some things. Okay, so I really enjoy them both, and my boys are running them right now. While I have three sons. Two of them are running the real estate and the sports marketing businesses right now, and then my other boy, he's driving. He drives trucks, and that's what I'm not here to do. Help him build a trucking business. But what's most important to me is my trucking businesses, man. I mean, my businesses that I've built my own. So I do really, really, really good with it. Let's see. Let's answer some more questions. I hope I gave you enough information without boring the hell out of you about my other businesses. If you want to go from Prime, follow David H. or Junior Honduras. Crazy Bags was good also, but he changed his name to the channel. Yeah, there are some good YouTubers on there, and I like Junior Honduras. He's really good. He's got a lot of inside information about Prime, so he's a good person to watch. The information you're going to get off his channel is going to be some truth. I tell you that. Prime TNT phase is long. Yeah, I was not going to get into the south side of it, but the phase from the time you start with Prime to the time you are going, you're a solo driver, was far too long for me, which is the reason why I didn't go with Prime. And I didn't regret it because I went with Swifty. Swifty did me just fine, but that was one of the issues that I had, man. It was too long running with Prime, man. It was too long to do that, to get to your own truck, man. I wasn't too cool with that, and then it made it longer. So I guess they want you to have some more training, right? You were saying why you left Swift. Yes, I'm going to discuss that here just shortly, I'm not going to get really, really, really deep into it because we're going to stay positive. But enough of you guys have asked that question, and you've been faithful enough to follow me, watch my videos, and vague answers to your question on that issue is probably not the best. I probably should go ahead on and address it. And then if anybody ask me that question, I can refer them back to this video. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Still long, but not as long. Yeah, it is long. Let me see. I want to make sure that I've got everybody on here. That any questions already answered. Then and we'll start chatting a little bit about my time at Swift. And so I think we got everybody. If you have another question for me, and I'm trying to keep up with the chats on here, so I'm gonna start yapping a little bit, and I'll try to answer your questions as I go along. And first off, I want to say, do I have regrets about going to Swift, and would I do it all over again the same way? And I want to say that absolutely I do not have any regrets. And I thoroughly enjoyed the time I spent at Swift Transportation, and if I had to do it all over again, I would do it the same way, because I really enjoyed it. And I found none of the rumor stuff that everybody else wants to talk about. I found zero truth in it. It was not there. Okay. If anybody want to discuss or combat that with, Swift has an extreme amount of wreck outs, or they have a bunch of bad drivers. My answer to that is sure they do. They also have a whole hell of a lot more drivers than anybody else, so they're gonna have a whole hell of a lot more wreck outs, and they got a whole hell of a lot more at stake. I mean, it is what it is. That's a fact, and their drivers are young, and it's a place where you can go get started, and by all of the negatives that people talk about Swift, they are there for you when you have zero experience. They're there for you if you had some things in your past that are questionable, that other companies will say we won't give you a chance. Our doors are closed to you because of something that you've done in your past, and Swift looks past a lot of that. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, they can't hire you if you have done some really really bad stuff. So you've closed those doors on yourself, but they've done real good, man. They look out for folks in that sense, and so as a company, I think they were pretty good people. Okay. I was asking why. I have one. He says he started with Swift and Jeep Knob. He says I started with Swift and I left with a mentor. I came back after 3 days because that was a jerk. I'm probably just gonna leave Swift. Don't be careful, man. Be careful. Don't. If you got your CDL through them, try to stay there at least long enough to make sure that process is taken care of. Okay, and don't let one jerk screw you up. Okay, Nathan, hey 50, happy Sunday to you too, my friend. Are you gonna do more truck cooking videos? I've committed myself to do a lasagna on the truck, and I'm gonna get that done for you guys. You're gonna see that next week. So yeah, and I'll do more. I don't use the griddle on the truck anymore. I bought this little thing that you can cook eggs in, so I cook breakfast. Because usually I'll use that griddle for that, and then I would do blackened fish on that griddle. But I hadn't done that, but I do still cook my steaks and everything else on there. Right now I'm smoking some carnitas on the grill on the pit, and oh man, it's probably I probably need to go take them off. I smoke them on there, then I finish them off in the in my Instant Pot, and so I'll do all that stuff for you guys. I'll let you guys see that, but I'm definitely gonna do some more cooking. But if you guys go through a trucking school for with a major with a carrier, a school that they sponsored you through, try and at least honor your commitment to them to get that part taken care of. That way you don't have that thing hanging over your head, okay? And don't let a bad mentor. There are some bad ones out there, and you know, there are a lot of good ones out there too. So if you got a bad one, you'll get past them, and then go get you another one, man. It's gonna take, and they will swap you, so you don't have to worry that you're gonna be stuck with this bad person forever and ever and ever and a day. That's not how it really works. You can't move on, okay? And why didn't I do flatbed with the company rather than Otis says, would you do flatbed for one company and would later return to Swift? I'm not gonna go back to Swift. Okay, he asked me if I, would take my flatbed experience and go work with Swift. I'm not going back to work with Swift. They not gonna be able to give me enough money. They can't come back to me on bended knee and say, "We sorry enough," and then I go back to them. Okay, because of the way the situation was handled. I understand why the Swift made the decision they made. I understand that. However, I can disagree with it and still, be biased with it. Okay. Swift didn't look past my past mistakes, but that's not he. This was Jay. Yeah, man. I get it. I get it. I don't want you to say, Jay. I don't want you to say on there what your past was. Don't do that. It's nobody's business but yours. Okay. But like I said, there are limitations to what we can do things to ourselves that are beyond reproach. People can't. Insurance purposes won't let them do it, or the customers don't allow felons to on their property or in their back area and stuff like that. It's a lot of things that prevents trucking companies from being able to hire. But I know that there's some guys that work there with some past, and they still got their opportunity. Why you didn't get yours? It could be a multitude of things, but again, don't say what went on, because that's nobody's business but yours. So don't say that. I don't want anybody jumping on here and start talking crazy. But because they didn't overlook your past, don't mean that somebody else won't. So don't give it up if that's what you want to do. Okay. How's your pops, man? Listen, I'm gonna do a video of him. I just seen him. I went to the hospital to see him. And I won't say a whole lot of stuff about it because I want to put the video out about it. But at the end of the day, his spirits are kind of down here. But his health is bouncing back. It's going to take a while. It's going to be a journey. But he basically had to get some major surgery done after the chemo and everything. So he's not really at the happiest place. But eventually, if he adjusts, he'll be all right, and I'm gonna go see him again after I get this meat off the pit, and then I'm gonna take it up to the hospital and let him nibble on some good food, and he'll be all right. So a little bit more with the Swift thing. I'm gonna try to explain what went on without stirring up a bunch of drama. You guys know who I am, man. You know, I don't do drama, but you guys know that if you've been following me, you know that there was somebody who obviously does like drama and thought that drama is what was going to create them a fan following, and then they did get some fan following from it, but they made me the target of their drama. And throughout the entire time that person was attacking me, I never responded. I never responded because it's petty. It's petty, and I'm a grown man with, with other things to do than to play games, drama games with somebody who, like to do that. That's just not my deal, okay? And so it hasn't changed. I still am not a drama person, okay? So this whole situation was based off of that drama. And going into it in detail is not something that I need to do, because a lot of you guys that followed her, know what I'm talking about, and all I can say is of all of it was untrue. Well, for those who don't know a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit so I can bring you up to a little bit of pace. I had a student that was that when I was with Swift, and she was actually my first student, and we got along pretty good. She was cool people, man. I enjoyed it. You guys watched the videos with us on the truck together, and she drove extremely good, man. And I was surprised at how well she could handle the truck. It was really cool. But I drive between Denver and Salt Lake, Utah, every day on a dedicated route, and we had to go through the mountains. Number one, she didn't really like those, but I kind of coached her through them, and then she kind of got okay with it. That Jake break was her friend. She did really good with it. But we had some snow one day, and she just come apart. She couldn't handle it. And I understand, because she said she had some past with that, and because I drive from Denver to from Salt Lake to Denver, and Denver to Salt Lake every day, Wyoming isn't going anywhere, and that snow can crop up at any time. So I told her she was going to have to find another mentor, because there's just no way. I mean, I'm not going to change my route, and she can't drive and stuff. So she had to get another mentor. But immediately, this person blamed me for all their problems, all the problems that they had in their life. It was all my fault, and that I wasn't, I wasn't the kind of person that's just gonna change everything I do and feed into somebody else's issues. That's just not who I am. It's not what I'm gonna do, and that's not life anyways. Everybody have issues. Everybody got problems. But that don't mean the world needs to stop and start catering to them. And there's a lot of personal stuff, like, she had to stop eat every hour, and, wasn't ready to live the trucker's life and pee in bottles and cups and stuff like that. We do that, okay? I know it doesn't sound right, but when you're in the middle of nowhere, you got no place to pee. Your body got to relieve. You relieve yourself in objects that you can then discard properly when it's time. Okay, but you were really good with that right at the moment. And it just started compiling. There's a few other things, but personally, I didn't have a problem with her, and then I just thought, we could work through it, but that was too much. And this person decided to just go nuts when they got off my truck, okay? So that's basically what happened. And there was a series of videos she made, which was complete untruths, but I didn't respond to those because it's drama, and I do not respond to it. If that person made a video today, I still wouldn't respond to it because it's beneath me. I don't do that. Okay, it doesn't matter. All you have to really do is listen, okay, and pay attention to what's being said, and read comments and responses to those comments. Just actually pay attention, and the truth is there. So I don't really respond to that stuff, right? So I guess maybe I should have, because it got to a point where this person, unprovoked, okay, this is unprovoked. This person said that I threatened their family, that I threatened them and threatened their family. Keep in mind, you guys are watching me just about every day. And there's a student on my truck that's with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm supposed, I somehow found time to, investigate, get information on this person and their family, and then threaten them for some reason. I have to be like all the way cuckoo. But, and I would have to be like a clone in order for this to happen. But, rather than, if it was true, going to the police and say, hey, this person is threatening my children and my family, they go to the job. They went to Swifty and said, this person is threatening my family. One of your employees, my fellow co-worker, And, Swift opened up an investigation. And they asked all of my students, all of the previous students. By the way, I had a student on my truck when all this happened. And they took the student on my truck, took him aside, interviewed that student, let that student get back on my truck, and we drove for another week with that student on my truck. I finished that student before they finally called me and said, oh, hey, okay, we got to investigate this. If they found any truths to any of the allegations they say, you think they would have let that student get back on my truck? Who's at a terminal? You think they're going to let that student get back on my truck if they thought that I was somebody that was in any way going to make to harm anybody in any fashion? Come on, man. It was just absolutely nuts. But let's talk about this for a minute. This is a company. They have a lot at risk here. We have a female saying that an employee is threatening them, and it's becoming far too regular in workplaces where violence is being carried out amongst other coworkers. And so they can't ignore it, even if it is just extremely ridiculous, and unfounded, and no possible way this person could do what they say, what they're being accused of. They're not even in the same state with this person. There's no way this could happen. It's still an allegation, okay? And they can't ignore that. And I understand it. And when they said they was going to have to investigate it, I could read the writing on the wall. So I decided that, this happened on a Friday. And I decided, I like Halloween too. So I think I'm going to go home and enjoy some Halloween. And then on Monday, go turn in my resignation, clean my truck out. And that's what I did. What's disappointing to me was the way it was handled when they knew that there was no way those things could be true. It's impossible, people. I mean, how could it is? They interviewed everybody else. Nobody had a problem. They watched my videos and they saw the faces on the truck, and you guys watching them too. We had a good time, and I really enjoyed my students, and they all learned. I'm supposed to be such a bad mentor, but they are able to watch themselves back, because I purchased a drone, and I sent the drone up, and while they backed into a spot at a parking lot and stuff like that, then we would watch it on the tablet so that they can see what the trucks is doing, and they did that, so they know what they were doing with the steering wheel as the truck is going into the spot. And it was a very positive experience with my students. I really enjoyed it, and they told them. So it was all unfounded, but this company still had to protect itself. So how do you do that? You throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just get rid of everybody involved and totally detach from the situation. And that's what they did. That was what they did. And this person was fired before me, because by the time I got home and I made a video about about being home, this person was waiting for me to make that video so that they could make one. So they was already home. It's because they got fired first. They got fired first because they lied about a fellow employee. That's why. And no matter what happens after this, they're gonna make it. I mean, this person might make a video and say, hey, this person, blah, 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 but you guys are smarter than that. And you wonder, well, how could, if it was true, why would you go to the police? Why would you go to the job instead of going to the police? As far as threatening harm to your family, supposedly, you think the job is going to protect your family? Get the hell out of here, man. No, they're just going to fire everybody. Stupid. But it's not a life-altering situation for me. I don't have to work, so that doesn't really bother me. What bothered me is the way in which they handled it. Because if it was true, hopefully they would handle it different if it was true. But I'm pretty sure real quick they found out it was a bunch of bullshit, and then handle it appropriately. But if it had been the truth and she really needed some protection and really needed some help, I wonder if they would have handled it differently and got her the help that she needed, than to just blow it off and say, y'all, this is a bunch of bullshit, and then just fire everybody. Because then, if I was that person, then you just ignited it, You just put fuel to the fire, and now this person is extremely angry because you not only I'm mad at you, so I'm going to threaten your kids, but now you got me fired, so now I'm supposed to just let it go? That would be even worse. It would exaggerate the fact, it's like gasoline on the fire. So I wonder if it could have been handled a lot different than that if it was a true thing, because it could have really went wrong for her. And I think that would have been handled in a worse way. And I'm hoping that that they did not handle it that way because they knew it was a bunch of bullshit. Okay, because they watched the videos too. They saw how we interacted together, and they knew that I didn't harm it, do anything that she was alleging. And I get it. I'm not even angry with her. I think it was what she was doing was just building a channel, and because I spent enough time with her to believe that that it was all an act, because she would have to be like mental or something. And I rode right next to her, for quite a while, and she just seemed to be a pretty cool person to me. So I ain't mad at her. It just kind of blew up. You know what I mean? It just kind of blew up. But the main thing that frustrated me with Swifty, and the reason that I could forgive all of that because I understand it. But here's the deal breaker. They called me like on a Wednesday after I went back up on Monday and cleaned my truck out, and they said, we finished our investigation, and I need to talk to you about the results. And I said, that's fine. I don't really need to hear the results. I don't know. I might have been watching TV, drinking a glass of water, staring at a flashlight. Who cares? I did not care about what he had to say, because I told him, I said, hey, Monday I went over there and I cleaned my truck out, and I turned in my resignation. I'm no longer an employee at Swift. He says, well, it don't matter. I'm still going to tell you what we found, and we decided we're going to terminate you. And I said, how are you going to terminate me? And I've already resigned. And the guy says, that's not the way we're going to report it. That was enough for me right there. That pissed me off to the highest of festivity. It didn't matter about all the previous stuff. Didn't matter. that one statement did it. Done. They can't come to me and say anything because that was wrong. That wasn't right. Shouldn't have done that, man. And it's the reason why I won't go back. But I do understand the reason why they had to investigate. Man, can you think about that? You own a company, and one of your employees is coming to you telling you that another employee is threatening them. You're gonna have to act. You have to. You know, if they thought that there was any substantial truth to the thing at all, any truth to it at all, then they would have called the popo because they can't handle it. They got to call the police and say, hey, we have an employee here that's threatening the lives of another employee and their family. You come over here and do it because Swift is not the police. They can't stop somebody from hurting someone else. All they can do is separate themselves from the problem, which is what they did. And that's the reason why 50 Plus is no longer an employee at Swift. Nor will I go back. And the worst part about this whole thing is that there are some casualties that absolutely are innocent, absolutely have no connection to that situation at all. And they still was affected because Autumn, my recruiter, was the sweetest person. She was a single mom taking care of her family, busting her butt to make things happen. And she was extremely good at her job, and she got fired. Well, she didn't get fired. She got the same situation. She resigned too, but they still wrote it off as being fired. And but she got some revenge, and she won. And I'm glad she did. I am, because they didn't do it right, but they ended up paying. So thank goodness. And then two of my students, they was upset with the way Swift was handling this and trying to force them to say things that was not true. And they said, no, I'm not going to lie. None of that stuff happened. And Swift kept badgering them, so they quit. That is frustrating to me, that it could, that this bullshit, straight bullshit, could affect so many people. And and I think that sometimes I wish that I had pounced on this when it first happened and just truthed this down to a nub and make everybody. But the problem with that is I would then have to engage in drama, and because that person wouldn't stopped. Even somebody says 2 + 2 is 5, and then you just destroy them with the truth that it's actually 4. There will always be people who think it's 5, and there will always be people who think that she wasn't lying to them. They can't get it in their head that the truth is, if somebody's threatening you, why would you go to the job instead of the police? If it was true, and your kids, come on now. But they won't. No, there's people out there that will not accept that. They'll say, "Oh no, he did the right thing, and you're a bad guy." Well, that's fine. I'll take that. Whatever, because whoever's thinking that way doesn't affect my life anyway. So I just don't care about that. All I care about is the truth. But I kind of my thought process is, if I had, and I actually defended myself against those crazy allegations in 50 Plus fashion, it would have been not fun for her, and it would not have been, a good thing, because, I just don't believe she deserves to be just handled like that. But I probably should have, at least responded, because maybe I would have put an end to it, and so other people would still be, they would still be working, and I'm sure that they're working, but it's not for Swift. But they would have had to go through that stupidness, So that really frustrated me. Double A, by their fruits you shall know them. We know that you respect yourself as well as the fact that. And the facts the way you work speak for themselves. I appreciate that, my friend. Double A, I do. I gotta tell you, it bothered me for a long time, guys. It did. I'm pretty. I'm one of those dirt dudes, man. I mean, you got to really, come at me to affect me. I mean, it's gonna in a very, 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 very rough way. But when it comes down to people, especially the innocent, that's where my soft spot is. And I don't even mind saying it, but it is. And people who that I've built a relationship with, like my students. I talk to my students all the time, yeah. Except for her, I didn't talk to her because I didn't think that was a dialogue that needed to be. But the rest of those guys, man, I talk to them quite a bit, and still do. And I lost contact with Swifty Steve. His number doesn't work anymore, so I don't know how to get in contact with him. I'm trying to reach out to him on YouTube, but other than him, man, Jasani and all those guys, man, I talk to them, quite a bit. And because I feel like we have a closer, we have that bond. I know I'm here for them, and I know that if I had a question that they got one for me, it bothered me. It bothered me that they even had to be involved in that. It bothered me that they came and removed Hector off my truck to, talk to him about who I am and how I was treating him on the truck. That bothered me because he didn't, need to be brought into this fantasy, but they were, man. What about Autumn's kids? Do you think that they deserve to be brought into this freaking bullshit, these lies? You think they should deserve that? No, man. They don't. And that's what bothered me. Not, the attack on 50 plus. That doesn't bother me. This is YouTube. It's fun for me. I love interacting with you guys. But the truth is, without 50 plus, you guys, y'all's life will go on, and, if YouTube shut down today, I would continue on, as I was continuing before I got here, I'd be going on afterward. That's the real thing. We just enjoy the times that we are here to interact with each other and enjoy this time we have together. Other than that, the effect that we have on each other, it can only be what we allow it to be because, we're not face to face. And all I've ever wanted to do was be real, in all of my videos. I always either am showing you something that I'm doing right then or giving you information that is based in fact or giving you information on something that I just done and then you see a video of me doing it. I like to do things that is fact-based that you can visually see and during the process can validate that what I'm saying is true. I like making those type of videos because you guys know that when you hear me say something that I'm telling you what the real fact is. That's why I come. And I've done that from the beginning. My very first video was me downstairs at my table talking about getting into this business. And I'll tell you who I was then, the same person I am right now. And you guys watch me go through every process. You watch my students go through them as well. I had cameras in my truck. You was watching them back up, and you watching them from the drone, and the things that we talk about. I talk about it in front of my students. We discuss them together. Things that may be important to you guys getting into this business. No matter how long I'm going to be doing this channel and doing this business, and it will always be for you guys, the rookies. Okay, always, because there's so much foulness out there. It's a lot, man. I mean, people just, especially in this industry, you'd be surprised how much negativity. It just feeds off of negative. And but this is a business where you can be making $20,000 flipping hamburgers yesterday, and tomorrow be on your way to making some very, very good money. 3 weeks later, done with your CDL and on the track of better than tripling your income. This is a life-changing industry, but we can get sidetracked by the lies, the misconceptions, the half truths. The sun is always shining behind clouds or something. It's always negative. You get that so much with trucking. Other truck drivers on YouTube having beefs with other truck drivers on YouTube. What can you get from that? Stay away from that craziness, man. That's why I didn't really get deep into that scenario. But you guys deserve to know because you follow me, man, and you guys help me build this channel up because you guys are the channel, and you guys repeatedly asked me what went on, and because I'm not a drama type of dude and I never have responded to any of that stuff, I was extremely reluctant. But at the end of the day, I just felt like I owe you guys at least an explanation of what went on, and believe me, guys, I'm not going to bring it up again. If anybody have an issue, I'm going to always let them come back to this video, but I'm not down with drama, and I won't get to that anymore. It's done now, and the people who was affected by the fallout of this bunch of bullshit, life was going on for them, and I'm glad for that. I take a little bit of solace in that, but it doesn't erase the fact that I wish that it never happened. And I wish that, I think over and over again about what I could have done different so I could be a better person, and address it if it was to ever come up again. And I just, I still hadn't worked that out, up here. I still hadn't worked that out yet, because generally I'm the kind of person that pounds on some shit because I like it and squash the hell out of it and then keep moving. But in this situation, it involved two people, and I just didn't want to bring up that drama crap. And I still don't know that I didn't handle it right. I should have addressed that a lot sooner, But anyways, that's over. That's done, and I hope that I give you guys enough answer there. Okay. Yeah, those two that give a tough skin. Kimco has a channel too. Kimco, Pretty Girl Trucker. She's a driver for Swift, and she has a YouTube channel, and she's really cool. And her stuff isn't negative. It's just her driving the truck and talking to you about a few things. She got a new video to do to talk about trip planning and things of that nature. And I want you guys to go over there and like, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, go through a few of her videos, do some thumbs up and help her out. She's cool people. You're not getting drama there. And it's Kimeko. Kimeko. When you put that in the search bar, it'll pop up Kimco, Pretty Girl Trucker. And again, she's a Swift driver. And jump on her page, like, subscribe, and check out her videos. Okay, good people there. Okay, guys, listen, I want y'all to hang in there. Okay, I'm gonna disappear for a second because I've done yapping for over an hour, and my pit is going with me not being a pit master. So I'm coming right back. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, guys, let me run down there and knock this out. Be right back. Hang in there for me, guys. back. I am back, guys. I hope y'all didn't miss me too much. Let's start back with some of your questions. Rogelio. If I spell your name, it's because I don't want to mispronounce it. That's kind of a peeve I have, you know. I don't like to mispronounce people's name. To me, it's kind of disrespectful, so I rather spell it to you, okay? But he says, "Hey," I say, "Hey back." After every John Harris, after every reefer load, food or not, do I have to wash out? I see none near my route. You know, all the refrigerated loads that I've taken, they were Costco loads, and they were all boxed up. And I never washed out a refrigerator, but I didn't do it all the time, so I can't answer. But you know, maybe some of you reefer guys can fill in the blanks here. You may have. I went up the line a little bit to try to you know, catch some of these questions. Yeah. EJ54, what's going on, brother? And Smith, he said, stuff happens. Stuff happens for a reason. That's why you're better positioned. That's right. That's right, man. You know, I really like Melton. You know, I like the fact that it's, you know, it's just hands off, man. They give you good equipment and they give you a bunch of loads. You know, I just can't ask for much more than that from a company. That's what I'm there for. You know, they really do have good equipment, and so, and they got a pretty cool terminal. That the one in Tulsa, man, that place is like Taj Mahal, man. It's super nice, super nice. By the way, if any of y'all want to start your career in flatbed, and then, you know, reach out to me and I'll let you know what I've done to get involved with Melton. And it's place is pretty cool, and you know, and it kind of depends on the area where you live, because I was actually was considering two options. Maverick was the other option, and Maverick kind of excluded themselves because they don't hire in the area where I live. Okay, north of Houston, then yeah, they do, but they wouldn't look for anybody down here. So they kind of excluded themselves. So it worked out really good because it didn't matter to me which one I was going to go with. I thought they was both, you know, decent places to work. I never saw a nasty Melton truck. I never saw a nasty Maverick truck. I never saw them, you know, broke down on the side of the road, ragged ass equipment, stuff like that. Other than blowing tires, everybody blow tires, especially summertime. It's just a fact, you know. But other than that, I ain't seen them on the side of the road, hood up, stuff like that. Neither one of them. And can it happen? Sure, it can happen. But they both looked like they was doing pretty good, you know. And I didn't see any bad raps in either one of them, you know. And so I knew I wasn't gonna go wrong either way. But I'm really grateful that I went, you know, that it worked out where I could, you know, do my time with Melton, man. It's a pretty cool place, you know, and the people have been straight up with me, and I kind of like that, you know. There's what Smith say. That's why I would never train. I get it, man. I get it, and I was warned by so many people about training, you know. But we all think the same, you know. Yeah, you got burned, but I'm not. It's not gonna happen to me, you know. And but I can tell you why I did train. I'll let you guys know why I decided to be a trainer when I was with, and it's because of you guys, and and so much of the fears that you all had about getting trained and trainers, and those were legitimate fears. I mean, they was legit, and because I've seen so many bad trainers. I've had some guys that would come into the terminal, don't even know how to slide their tandems. They don't know how to go over scale. They will say, "Man, you got a truck with your mentor." So when you was on truck with your mentor, your mentor, he didn't teach you to slide your tandem. Nope. Dude never went through it, and I've seen it so many times. So many times the mentor don't even let the student do a single back, just right off on it like he did them, but don't even let them back. It's that kind of stuff that made me know that I had to do something that would if I'm gonna ask you guys, hey, come on over here, join Swift, you're gonna do okay, it's gonna be cool, come on over here and knock it out, make this shit happen, and then when you come over here, I'm not willing to train you. You know, I ought to be at least willing and able if I ask you to come over. Or am I asking you to just come over and step into the shitstorm? I just didn't think that was the right thing to do. So I tried it, and immediately I liked it. Even with my first student, this girl, yeah, I immediately liked it, and it's because I like interacting with people, you know. And we had a really good time. After her, with the other guys that was on the truck with me, man, we had some fun, and it makes the time go by, you know. So when you have a good rapport, and she was the only one, by the way, that eventually was a negative experience. And even right now, I don't have anything against the girl. I really don't. I really, really, really don't. I don't like the situation. I don't like how the situation turned out, but I'm not angry with her at all, you know. And we had a good time together, you know. But I understand why guys walk away from this stuff, man. They don't want to train because, you know, they're afraid that somebody is going to, lie on them, obviously. Or, you know, a female might say that this person tried to do something to them, you know. It's just an array of things, and guys don't want to jeopardize their job by training somebody. And then on the other side of that, you get students going, I don't want to get with a trainer because they're such bad people, you know. And so it's kind of a jacked up situation. I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out how you're gonna get beyond that. You know, I don't even have I see I didn't even put my phone number up there. I have a phone number for you guys to call. I'm gonna have to put it up here so you guys can call me. But there was one of the subscribers that I was gonna try to get on the phone. I'm gonna try to get him on here. And the cord that I supposed to use, the data transfer cord from the phone to the mixer, so that you guys can hear the phone calls from the people who call in. That cord, I left it on the truck for some reason, so I had to use a different one, and I don't even know that it's gonna work. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna try to call him and see if it works. If it works, then cool. You guys will get to hear him. He is a former Swift driver, and he kept saying, "Man, I want to talk to the guys about what I experienced." And I told him that I would try to get him on here, but I don't know that I can. I don't know if this cord is going to let me do it. And hey, brother, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You know what? I'm using a different cord. I don't know that you're coming through on the live chat. Say again.
I switch on speaker.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to make this work, but I obviously this little cord that I'm using is not what I was hoping it was going to be, and I don't know that everybody's going to be able to hear you talk.
What do you want to do?
Well, we're gonna keep talking and see what happens. If anybody can hear Byron talk, then let me know that you can hear him. But so you were one of the UBS that was following my channel and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go give Swift a try," and you did.
That I did. Actually, we talked on the phone and we met actually at Swift at the restaurant there.
You sure did. You sure did. And we met there in Phoenix at the home terminal. We sat at the restaurant. We talked and chat for a little while, and you know, you got some life experience because you were I think before that you were selling timeshares, weren't you?
I was doing timeshare in Mexico, and then I was selling solar in Phoenix.
Ah, okay. You know, how does the selling solar business? It should be pretty good in Phoenix. I mean, you get a lot of sun, right?
Yeah, it works pretty good. I mean, what you're trying to do is you're trying to replace your electric bill with solar, so it's no money out of your pocket. Once your solar's paid off, then you can have a bill maybe $20, $30, $40 per month. So it's a long-term investment for your ROI.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. I'm getting some thumbs up, so they can hear you. So that's good. So now, Byron, you and I have communicated quite a bit throughout the whole process, throughout going to school, and you were actually going to mentor with me. It didn't quite work out, but you mentored with someone else. And how was that experience when you were with your mentor? Now, guys. Obviously, because Byron and I talk, I kind of know what went on and how things went, you know, so to speak. But he asked for an opportunity to say things he wanted, his experience, to share his experience with you guys. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So I'm asking questions that I kind of already know, but still, I want Byron to tell you guys what his experience was. And then and you guys have the opportunity to ask those questions.
Well, I guess probably start from the beginning. I mean, when I first met with Swift back at the Phoenix recruiting office, and from just the get-go, a lot of promises were made that didn't pan out. Starting off with that, I came in with my permit in place, and they said if I had my permit, that I would not have to spend that 1 week in a classroom through the schooling I went to via Swift. And myself and everybody else that came in with their permit had to endure a week of basically sitting there and watching everybody else practice to take their permit test.
Yeah, that was unlike the experience that I had. You know, when I did it, I didn't have to do it. And you know, and I don't know the reasoning behind it. I hope that it was a valid reason to make somebody have to go through all that, but it is a drag. And the only positive that could come out of a situation like that, you know, is that you guys ran no risk of not passing it, being sent home because of it, because you already had it. But you know, telling the truth right up front, and this is what to expect, is paramount. And what you're saying is that they didn't tell you that, and I get it. That's frustrating.
No, I mean, I went through Swift when there's other schools out there because I live in Phoenix, and I thought my probability to get home would be higher working for a company that has a terminal in my own backyard. Ended up, they put me through the terminal in Denver, Colorado. That was my home terminal, which made no sense to me.
That's kind of odd too that they would do that. You would think that if you went to school there, because I went to school in Corsicana, Texas, and but we did our our orientation after school was over. The orientation was at the Lancaster terminal, and that's where we got assigned our mentors and all that good stuff. And when we got off the mentor's truck, they just naturally assumed that that was going to be our home terminal. I asked to have a different home terminal, and otherwise I would have gotten the terminal that that particular school, of course, kind of fed into. So you're saying that that wasn't the case. Did you went to Phoenix? You were expected to be Phoenix your home terminal, and lo and behold, they sent you someplace else.
Correct. But going back to the beginning, a lot of promises were made to me. Things were said. All I can tell people that are considering going to Swift is whatever they're saying to you, the key word is ask them to put that in writing. And if they refuse to put that in writing, then they're lying.
And I've heard similar situations with other companies doing the same thing, and it's basically a sales pitch. They say, all of this stuff, we're going to promise you all this stuff, and then, none of it, or if any of it was true, or turns out to be true, it turned out to be basically a half-truth. They didn't tell you everything. And it seems like a industry-wide problem, which is kind of the reason why I try to steer everybody to Autumn, because she was pretty truthful, man. I never found her, telling a lie, but it's just so easy for that to be.
I just feel not even a half truth. I'd say a quarter truth, because I felt like everything my recruiter told me that was based out of Phoenix. And when she actually came back to the school a couple of times, she didn't make any contact with me. She looked down and tried to walk by me as quickly as she could. So right there, that was a major red flag to me that, what else was she not being honest and truthful about? And it turned out to be a whole heck of a lot. Started off, like I mentioned to you, about, about the week that I would have to sit in a classroom. When you're on the range, you're out there with your class, they only have a few trucks out there, and you're not really getting the ample time, because if somebody's having difficulty, they can eat up the whole morning session, and you're just standing around on the hot asphalt there watching them. Where the way they made it sound is you'll get plenty of time to refine your skills before you hit the road. One of the instructors I had on the road, I asked him, how am I doing along with other students? And his reply was, you tell me how you're doing. Like, wait, you're the instructor. You're there to critique me. It's not for me to critique you. He was, he was big into God. He said, well, I'll talk to the director. She's your boss. He goes, no, God's my boss. But really, does God sign your paycheck?
I'll interrupt you for just a second, okay? I'll interrupt you for just a second. Sean asked me why I left Swift. You missed it, bro. I just talked about it, but when this is over, it'll post it, and you can scrub to the spot where I'm yapping about it. Okay, I'll put a timeline stat where I talked about it, 'cause I yapped before then, of course. I run my mouth. Then I'll put a time stamp at the bottom and say, okay, this is when I start yapping about why I left Swift. Okay, and then for Michael, what's up? Okay, so now Byron, when you got off your mentor's truck, you actually had you actually went to you team drove, right? You had some
Actually, yeah, I did team drive. Guy David that was in my school with me, we graduated together, decided to hook up and team drive. But let me just back up, because what I found it really interesting was that they made it sound that you have to do a pre-trip and a post-trip. Very important. Pre-trip to check out your truck, to make sure everything is working fine before you start hopping in and do a 700 mile how would I say it there, shift. and a post trip to check your truck out after you did that 500 to 700 mile journey.
All right.
I did the very first day I met with him. I did my pre-trip, and my pre-trip, to be blunt with you, was not, how would I say it, smooth across the board. I forgot certain names of certain things, so I was kind of bouncing around the map. I did, identify probably 70 or 80%, but some things I did forget. And my mentor coming back to me was, "That's amazing. That's the best pre-trip I saw. You should be able to teach that class."
Right.
Like, what?
Right.
So the remaining 5 weeks or 4.5 weeks I was with him, his version of a pre-trip was do a tug test. And you can explain what a tug test is to your viewers, and that was his version of a pre-trip.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a difference between what the reality of driving trucks and doing pre-trips and doing what people think that trucking is about and what it truly is, and the difference between what one driver believes the right thing to do and another driver believes the right thing to do. And when it comes down to being a mentor, the student should come to you with a clean slate. Then you get to draw that perfect scenario for them so that they can then go out and try to mimic it as often as possible. And then you get a guy who just says, "Oh, we're gonna make sure we're still connected to the trailer and then get going," right?
Oh, he saw the trailer in his mirror, so he figured all was good.
There you go.
That was his version. But I think even going back, the promise was once you're hired from Swift after you test out, and how that means is you graduate from the school, and you graduate and you test out, and then they put you on payroll. And until they can assign you a mentor, because they're short on mentors, you're supposed to be getting paid between the time you test out and graduate, and they give you your driver code, and the time you get hooked up with your mentor. And they tell you you'll be getting paid. Never saw that pay. That pay never came through on my paychecks.
All right. What was their excuse about that? Did you ask about it, or did you just let it go?
Well, the thing is, every time you ask somebody a direct question, it's like talking to a politician. They direct you to a different division. That's not my division. That's payroll. I'm recruiting, or I'm driver leader. I'm not recruiting. I'm not payroll. So you just kept on getting bounced around that constant hamster wheel, that merry-go-round, I call it.
Wow.
So we got hired on what they call a 636 dedicated Miller Coors team to drive to the 7 Miller Coors facilities around the country and pick up either beer, the big kegs, or what they call dunnage. And dunnage is like the shelves that they stack the beer on to protect the beer in transit.
Right.
Well, truthfully and honestly, I can say maybe 20% of the time we actually were doing 636, but there was a lot of time that we were doing technically over the road. And you figure if you're a team, you get longer runs, and a lot of our runs were what you would consider for a solo driver. 600-700 mile run is not really a team run. That's a solo run.
All right.
We never achieved 6,000 miles a week. I think 2 weeks, not even in a row, we might have had 5,300 miles. The other weeks we're averaging 40 to 4,500. So what I'm saying is to be out away from home for minimum 3 weeks, that's what we did. And I can tell you, busting our butt 1 week at like 5,400 miles, we brought home $1,100. And why is that? Because they pay you zip code to zip code, not practical mile, which means that if you drive to a zip code and you got to drive 20, 30 miles into that zip code, you're not getting paid for that. They're charging the customer for that, but you're not getting paid for that. Now, you imagine how many times we did that a week and multiply that by probably 17 or 18,000 drivers out there. Swift is making a whole hell of a lot of money, but you're working for free. There's been a time when we went to a pickup, and at that pickup, the trailer smelled like soap. We were picking up flour, so we had to get the trailer washed out, and Swift paid for it. But any time we had to sweep the trailer, which is considered work, it's around the clock, we were not getting paid for that. So there's certain things you get paid for with Swift, and certain things you don't get paid for with Swift. And bringing that part up, chasing trailers, which all companies I have, you mentioned that to me. But with Swift, sometimes we would exhaust our whole shift chasing trailers. And one night in particular, I was in Greer, South Carolina. My driver leader said, "Why are you looking for a trailer? There's a trailer there for you." I said, "Well, I talked to I can't even think of the window there, you call it now, where you go and check in." And the trailer,
the window.
Yeah, and the trailer that he assigned us was out of commission. So my driver leader said, "Why are you looking for a trailer? There's a trailer there for you." I said, "I can't find it." She goes, "Let me ping it." Oh, she pinged it. It just wasn't there. It was at a Swift yard in a different state. So they sent me down to Adidas, right out of Greer, South Carolina. Got there in the evening hour. The security supervisor had stated, "We had sent Swift a letter. You are not allowed to bobtail here and pick up a trailer." Called in, said, "Look, no trailers here. They won't allow us to take one. Where else can I look for a trailer?" Sent me about 90 miles away. Got there. There was a trailer. But the problem was, the trailer had a lock on it. So I call up to my terminal, and my terminal says, "Oh, that's right. There was another driver there about 3 or 4 hours ago. They did the same thing to us about that." I'm like, then why would they send me down here if that was the situation? The right hand does not know what the left hand's doing. Right. There was one time when my co-driver was pissed off, and he decided there was a pink tag or a blue tag on a trailer because it was missing one hinge, but it's still doable to drive. Right. He just took that and threw it away and called it in, and they assigned that trailer to us. So they put that tag on there, but it was never followed through in the course of the people inside the office knowing about it. Right. So the right hand doesn't know what the left hand does by any stretch.
Right. Right. No. Obviously, you no longer work there anymore.
No, I just got tired of working for free. I got tired of all the promises that were made that didn't follow through on. I just found that when I would talk to people about Swift, maybe one out of 150 drivers would have something not positive but neutral. They'll say the other 149 shook their head. When you pull into a truck stop or travel center, as they call them, and people start in a Swift truck, I don't care what size they were. They look like a bowling ball with 2 legs. They walk quicker to get across that parking lot because they're worried you might take them out.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I get it. And a lot of that part is the stereotypical feeding into the narrative that Swift's all got every driver's a bad driver and all that kind of stuff, and which that part I got to say I completely disagree with that. I mean, you didn't have any problem when you was driving, right? I didn't have
nothing major, nothing really major. I mean, one time I was going through the Vail Pass in a snowstorm. Yeah. Because that was our route to get from Denver or from the Miller Coors facility in Golden, Colorado, down to Azusa in California. And we were coming back, and it was a chain-up area, which you could barely see the signs. So I pull over, and the CHP or the Highway Patrol there said that you can't hang out here. You have to have a chain-up. Yeah. If you don't have a half an hour, or we're going to go ahead and tow you, and that's like $1,200. Or if you drive to the front of the stack, There's a cop there. If he doesn't see chains in your tires, that's an $1,100 ticket. So we had to pay $275 to get chains on our tires, because we were never trained how to put chains on tires that were sitting at the training facility, 2 tires with chains on them, but they never taught us.
Right.
So first, our driver leaders, nope, we can't reimburse you for that. Like, really? We were never trained how to put chains on tires. How can you charge us for something that we were never trained on? Yes, they did pay for it, but it just seemed that every way, shape, and form that they could take $1 away from you and put in their pocket, they would take advantage of.
Wow.
So I'm not saying, I don't know any other experience. You know more than I do. You've been in the industry longer. Why I was attracted to your channel was you are very knowledgeable and to the point. You don't really badger and get into the soap opera version like a lot of these channels do. Seems like high school. You're right, getting to the point, but you're blunt and honest about it.
Right.
But it just seems with Swift, even when here's a great one you'll like. We quit the school, or quit Swift. I contacted Swift. They didn't come after me. I said, look, I owe you money on a loan. And I want to I found out one of my co-drivers or my co-students I went to school with, they quit right afterwards, made arrangements to pay $150 a week back.
And
so
this
took care of his loan.
And this is your student loan, right? From when you got your CDL through Swift.
Correct. Mine was a flat $6,000 because I lived in Phoenix and I could drive to school every day, where some of the people, they put them in what we call the crack inn. It was a hotel, but it was a drug-infested hotel, and they charged them additional $750 for the 3 weeks to be in that hotel. Right. So mine was a flat $6,000.
Okay.
So I said, look, I'd like to make arrangements to get on that payment plan of $150 a week, or a month, excuse me, until I get another job, get back on my feet, and then I'd like to make more than $150 to kind of get rid of this loan that's kind of bogging me down. And he comes back to me, you'll love this. Well, your loan amount is $4,360. If your loan amount was $4,400 or above, I could stretch your payments out for 1 year. But if your payment's less than $4,400, which mine was by $40, they expect me to pay that loan off in 6 months, which is $726 and I believe 32 cents. If I do not pay it off, it would go to collections.
Man, that is crazy.
Crazy. I mean, excuse my terminology here, but I told him that's higher than balls on a camel.
Right.
How am I supposed to pay $725 being unemployed right now, right, on top of my regular bills? You're strangling me there. And I believe, and I've heard this from multiple people, you might know more about this, that Swift gets compensated from the government, so they get an additional $6,000 from the government for every student that goes through the school. So they're making $12,000 off of it, and they're not willing to work with you at all.
Yeah, that part I don't know about. I don't know how the schools intertwine with the government and stuff like that, with loans and things like that nature. I'm not sure on that one. But if they're making more, then I guess kudos to them. But the amount that we agree as students to pay back, it kind of seems like it should be a little bit more fair than saying, okay, well, there's a $100, $40, $60 difference between $150 a month and $750 a month. That there should be some amount of understanding being taken right there, where they say, well, let's go ahead and help this guy out and do something. Let's get your money.
It was my fault for not, reading the. I mean, they only give you a short time to read the whole contract, so I don't blame that on them. I blame that on myself. But my co-driver lived in Tucson, and he was promised in the first week, the second day, I believe, that he could take his truck home, and that's why he stayed with Swift. It turned out to be that he could not take his truck home, that he had to drop the truck off in Phoenix and then his brother had to come pick him up and drive him all the way back down to Phoenix, and then all the way back up to Phoenix before we went out on our next 3-week rotation.
Wow.
So all I'm saying is that I could say is, look, there's good and bad and everything out there. All I say to whoever wants to go to Swift is the questions and the things I'm bringing up, ask them to break it down and put it in writing. Ask them, well, what my payments would be if I quit. And if they say that's not my department, say, well, you work for that company. It's like, you should, if you talk to enough people that you recruit, you should have these answers off the tip of your tongue. And why not put everything I'm mentioning in writing? If they're refusing to put it in writing on paper with a pen, then it's a lie. It's not honest.
Yeah, and when it comes down to the recruiters in this industry, that isn't there's definitely isn't even the 100th time I've heard that. It's a sounds like a rampant situation, where you just can't get the truth from recruiters when they're a necessary evil, and you got to go through them in order to get to work. But they'll tell you damn near anything to get you to come on.
It's a puppy mill. It's all it is a puppy mill. The more people who graduate, there was one guy in our class that he was not meant to be a truck driver. He just was evident in every way, shape, and form. But they would not let him go because for him to graduate, that's why I believe that additional money from the government kicks in. They kept him there. So all they care about is that the school is graduating people. And the school basically does not teach you anything. It just gets you your CDL. It's up to your mentor. And like you are a mentor that cared. That's from watching your videos. My mentor, all he cared about was making that extra $100 a week.
Yep. And
getting that $1,000 bonus, or up to $1,000 bonus if I stayed on for a period of 3 months. He was money driven. His heart wasn't into teaching.
Right.
Just after the money, and pure, plain and simple. Because I didn't do all 40 backs that was required. I never even went inside and did went into the shipping and receiving office. He did all that. So really, when I graduated my mentorship, I was set up for failure. I wasn't set up to succeed.
Right.
It happens that my co-driver was actually out with his mentor for 2 months because they had some truck issues. He was with an owner-operator. And my co-driver really taught me what my mentor should have taught me. And we had a tight bond between ourselves, so he worked with me. Otherwise, if I was solo, I would have been set up for 100% failure, not to succeed.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
So there's so much more, but all I'm saying is ask the questions, do the research, watch your videos. Your videos will give them a lot of insight to it. And if you ask these questions once again, and they're not willing to give you the answers, or they kind of skate by the question and move forward, continue trying to close you, that should be the first sign that, something's not above water here.
Right.
All they care about is advancing loads. I mean, we were in for Christmas to New Year's, so we left New Year's Eve, or the 31st, and they sent us a message stating that between the hours of, I think, 10 and 4 in the morning, shut your truck down New Year's Day or New Year's Eve because of all the drunks on the highway.
Right.
Well, if that's the case, why did they let us stay home until 6 o'clock the following morning, enjoy New Year's with our families, and then go out?
Right.
There was another instance where there was a new law passed that all the trucking companies now can see if you were fired because of drugs or drinking.
Yep.
Previous company.
Yep.
And around
Clearinghouse.
20th of January, they sent us through the call that we needed to sign this paper by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or they're going to let us go. the point I'm making is, if you already knew about this, why would you wait till the 20th of January and give us 4 or 5 hour window to sign this instead of giving us the ample time to do it? It just put more stress on us because we're trying to advance loads, not worry about signing something or possibly losing our job.
Right. Yeah, that's a new thing, the clearinghouse, and you know, and obviously that was in place long before January 20th, and they really should have already gotten that squared away. You know, that sucks. But,
I mean, and the thing that really, I think, put us over the edge where we wanted to quit, that just was the nail in the coffin, was we got our bonuses were supposed to be $250. We had a $3,000 sign-on bonus, which I hear now is $1,500. We were promised that we get $250 per week until that $3,000 was maxed out.
yeah.
We got our $250 for the first 1,000, but it was broken up over like 6 or 7 weeks. The next $1,000, how it worked was we had to have 30,000 miles driving individually to obtain that additional $1,000.
Yeah.
Which we got. But then they told us that every quarter there's bonuses, and we were in the platinum level, the highest level that you can achieve. And they said, oh, you don't get that quarterly bonus. You have to be with the company for first 6 months before you receive that quarterly bonus. So you're talking 5 cents a mile for all those miles, but we didn't receive that because we were only driving, I think, for 4 months with the company. We'd have to wait for 6 months, and then that quarter we would receive that bonus. So that was really to us where we just said, you know what? And then it gets even better because we went to Federal Express, and Federal Express we would require 1 year for you to drive, or if you graduate a Swift school, that will hire you on. So we said, well, we work for Swift. We went through their school. They said, okay, we need to see your graduation certificate. Swift refused to give us our certificate because you don't receive your certificate until you pay the school off. I mean, to me, I equivalent that to college. It's like graduating college, but we're not going to give you a diploma until you pay your school loans off. You're going to start your career.
Right. Right. What did everything do with the other? They should have given that to you the day you left the school.
Didn't receive that. So basically, Federal Express was a good paying job because you're home every week. You're making more cents per mile. You don't have to move tandems. You're not chasing trailers. You're just going basically on interstates from one Federal Express hub to the next,
right,
dropping your tandems off,
right,
and picking up a new set. But couldn't achieve that because, once again, without that certificate, you know, you can't do it. They also tell you it's a 12-month loan. It is not a 12-month loan. They take out $80 a week. If you do simple math on $80 per week over a year, it works out to like $3,200 or $3,400 for that 1 year.
Right.
The 13-month is where they really take the remaining balance out. So if they're taking that kind of money out on your 13th month, how are you going to support your family when literally your whole paycheck, based upon how many miles you get, is going to pay off the remaining balance of that loan?
Yeah. Wow. You know, I did stay with them all the way up to 1 week before my anniversary. Okay. And when I left, like, they sent me a bill. The bill was $325, and that was basically the balance for the room and board, because they had paid me back all of the bonus monies and all of the sign-on bonus money that they promised me, which was $3,000, and I basically paid $375 for my CDL, because all of the money that they said they was going to pay me back for through the student loan, through the sign-on bonus, they actually sent it to me. I got them, every one. And so it works okay if you stay through the whole time. However, it's like double for what it was when I started. And you're saying now that the sign-on bonuses wasn't quite that much, and they're not $3,000, right? It's $1,500 now.
Well, I was still grandfathered in for the 3,000.
Okay.
When I talked to a lot of newer people that were still with their mentors, I said, "What's your sign-on bonus?" And they were all telling me, "Oh, it's $1,500." So I would have got my additional $1,000 if I would have won another. Well, I was probably 10,000 miles short of it.
Yeah.
But the point was, you're out there, your paychecks are all over the map,
right?
Based upon the miles you get, and there are some solo drivers that are getting 33,000, 3,500 miles a week.
Right.
How can a team only get an additional 1,000 miles a week when you're a team? And being dedicated, we went the dedicated route because we just want to run Miller Coors accounts through the 7 locations across the country. But we're primarily in over 40 plus states. I mean, there's no Miller Coors facility up in Minnesota, but we were there, and many other states that we delivered to that had no Miller Coors facilities.
And you're not the first person that I've talked to that was with a team and just couldn't seem to make good money as a team. That kind of sucks with them. And so I don't know how it is with other companies, but you're not the first person that's told me that.
We're making a total of 52 cents a mile split, and what we did was we agreed, my partner and myself. Doesn't matter if you drive more miles than myself. We're splitting everything right down the middle. So whatever the miles were, we got paid equally on that. So we were making roughly about 27 cents per mile, which if I would have went to Prime, Prime would pay me anywhere between 45 to 50 cents per mile, depending if I took a lightweight condo or full condo. And I almost went to Prime, which I kind of regret I didn't. But it just seems everything Swift told me, 90% plus didn't pan out. It just wasn't what I signed up for. And again, every time you bring an issue up with them, their answer to that was, let's not talk about that. Let's move forward.
Yeah, that's a good way to not have to own up to anything, right?
Oh yeah. Just I guess what I say. Long story short is, if you go to Swifty and you shake their hands, count your fingers because you might be missing one or two.
All right, brother. All right, Byron. I ain't gonna keep you too much longer, brother. I appreciate your time, and there's always everybody's experience is different, and I'm glad that you was able to come on here and let us know yours.
Well, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you as we made a friendship. That's the most important thing that came out of my experience with Swift. But everybody watching your channel, and just being blunt, honest, you're black and white, right to the point. And watch your videos, and they're going to give you a lot of insight what you're going to get involved with trucking, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much for the time.
Talk to you again.
Take care of yourself.
All right. Annette B, how are you? Hope everything's going well for you. Carlos Manning, hey 50, glad to see you're home safe and dropping them jewels. You betcha, brother. I came home on Thursday and I took care of a few things here, and then I went to see my dad. He's in the hospital. He should be getting out maybe one day late next week. And now I got the pit going on downstairs, so I'm gonna eat good for the next probably 2 weeks. What I do, I cook the food, I smoke it, and then I put it in my vacuum sealer and vacuum seal down the meat and stuff in these packages, and I freeze them. And then tomorrow morning, I go get a rental car so I can drive back to to the terminal in Oklahoma, and the company's paying for a rent car, so I'm glad with that. They paying for the fuel and everything, and then all I have to do is drive. And then in the morning, I go to the freezer and get all that frozen food out of there, and then I'll take it back to the truck, and I'll have some good home cooking for a little while. Works out really good. Sean, why did I leave Swift? That's what this video was about. And I'm gonna when we're done, I'm going to get in the description and I'll mark where to scrub to get to the part where I'm talking about the reason I left Swift. Okay, it's in this video. Stay away from mega carriers, Todd says. What kind of wood I use? I use a pecan wood. I like pecan. It adds really good flavor, and it's kind of soft flavor, so it doesn't, you don't get that real hard, just wood flavor in your food. You can get that too if you let it go too long. So I'm pretty sure that's why you're asking. Oak and hickory does well too, but again, those are a little harder woods, and they can be a little tart to me. He says, try Michigan cherry. The problem with fruit woods in Texas is they are kind of hard to come by, and when you find them, it's extremely expensive. But sometimes I can find applewood, and it does okay. But I actually have I don't have a pellet grill. It's an actual smoker, so I have to put chopped wood in there, and they just in Houston it's hard to find those type of woods, the fruit woods. I can find small bags of apple, but not logs that I need to put into my pit. 50, I really enjoyed your videos, and I have to contact at Swift Transportation Recruiter, and I'll be attending Swift Academy in April. My eyes wide open about trucking journey. Good, brother. And if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. I try to get back to everybody. And by the way, if you guys have reached out to me and you've asked me a question in one of the videos and I hadn't responded to them, ask again. I just overlooked it. It's not that I wasn't interested in answering your question. That isn't, that's not the case. I try to get to everybody, but reach out to me again. Michigan cherry wood will make your barbecue taste like s'mores. Bring them on. I'm going to get some. That's pretty good. All right, where we at? Okay, we're at an hour and 57 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna shut it down at 2 hours. So we got about 2.5 more minutes. Okay, and then I'm gonna go downstairs and eat. I would, after I smoke my meat, I wrap it. Some people wrap their meat off the pit. They'll wrap it in butcher paper, and I guess it does allow, because it's paper, it's porous, so it allows a little bit of breathing in there. I go the foil route. I wrap my meat in foil. By the time I get ready to wrap the meat, it's got all of the it has absorbed the smoke ring I want it to absorb, and so I go ahead on and cover it up, and it's just on there to finish cooking. So if you guys if you're not barbecue guys, smoked meat is really good. You use low temperatures, and you allow the meat to absorb the flavor of the wood, and it creates a little red smoke ring around the barbecue. So somebody said they got smoked meat. If you don't see a red ring around the edge of the brisket, then or chicken don't absorb it that much. It does absorb it in the skin, but not in the actual meat. Not that much. But in red meat, you can see it. So if you don't see that smoke ring there, it's not smoked meat. But anyways, after you've smoked the meat, it still has a long process to finish cooking. It's still not done. And so you wrap it and leave it on the pit, or you can wrap it and put it in the oven. It's just a source of heat is all you need after that, because wrapping it slows the process of the meat absorbing more smoke, or it totally eliminates it with foil like I use. I use a heavy barbecue foil, and you don't get any more smoke in there. But I really like it because it creates a pocket, so to speak, and the juices from the brisket or ribs or whatever you're cooking stays in there, and it almost bases itself as it finished cooking in its own fat juices. Woo. Good stuff. Slow and low, that's right. Do some Texas Twinkies. All right, guys, it is now 2 hours long, and I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to let you guys get off of here, and I'll go back through later on, and I'll timestamp for the period of time that I talked about the reason why I'm no longer with Swift, okay? And I really appreciate you guys. My boot button is way over there. Way over there. I got 2 cameras, okay? But I will attempt to do it this way, okay? Ubiest of the tubiest. The best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus. And I really appreciate all of you guys for hanging in there with me for 2 hours. I hope I was entertaining enough. I hope I got you the answers you wanted. But if I didn't, comment down below and I'll see if I can't get back to you. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be good to one another.